Have you ever felt like you're part of something bigger? A hidden group, an unspoken code? Like you almost belonged to a secret society without even realizing it? What if I told you that's where the first trick started? This video didn't just show up for you. You didn't just find it by accident. So the real question is, who programmed your algorithm? And why are you here now? Every second of this video is packed with hidden clues, codes, and the truth you weren't supposed to see. But if you're paying attention, welcome to the real test. Think what you have what it takes to crack the code? I don't know. Let's see. Too many people are on to me and my patterns, right? So now it's time to change, right? Because you guys, that's easy. So now I got to tell the whole thing, right? So I've been tagging everywhere else, and now I got to actually really grow the accounts in the business, which means I can't do more, which means it's a whole different thing, right? Because I got to change the algorithm. So you can't then, because I actually have to grow it now the right way. Before I was learning all the methods, what people do, so that I can analyze other people's accounts. What do people do? Okay, they get bots, they get this, they go into these groups, they go into the, like, I had to do everything. Now I'm eliminate that. Now that I know and I understand how it all works, I actually have to grow this part of the business, which means you can't, you're shadow banned when you have all this other going on. I have to build it with a true authentic audience. Before I was doing that to give away clues. Now I got to do it to actually build an audience, which means I can't give you clues anymore. So if you're not in my head, you're not in the game. The mentally ill thing, right? Like, and be present and then just get this stuff done so that I can move on. All I'll say is this. I got a message in my head from somebody saying, type this. Game of Thrones. So instead I type this, Game of Thrones, right? Which led to the video game conversation, which is the internet game, which is the building of the game, which is making it more specific to the game, and asked for tip or whatever on that. I'm like, well, I thought you were already doing that, first of all. So I thought we already had that conversation, but it was more specific. And that's all I'm saying, because I need to get out of this mentally ill game with my imaginary friends and make real life friends, right? Because I got none. Because why? Because I'm mentally ill. Just hang like this little with this, so he's telling me information, then goes and with everybody, and that's it. So that's all I'm saying. But you already knew I had full permission. But why did this end up happening, right? Because of go. So that's all I'm saying. But you already have that permission. Better be making us some good money too. Overall, did we come up with, now everybody understand, we're playing a game together, right? It's a game. There was a game. We fixed the game. Now it's a better game. Okay, so we're doing this thing now, right? So it's a global thing. You have to be, it is a global thing. We had to create a global problem, funny enough, to solve the world's problems, right? Because problems can't be solved at the same level of thinking. Nobody was thinking big enough. Everybody sucked, right? So equals suck. Now that we know we're all playing this game. All right, so there's teams and everything. How's that going to work? Overall, we're going to look at the whole globe, right? And then we're going to divide it by continents. And there's going to be an education thing, right? As we do this and whatever, right? Okay. So how this is going to work, is this the only way to solve the world's problems, funny enough, is we're going to do the continents, right? Are the continent you were born in, right? Because we're not going to get into complications of anything. The continent you were born in is your first base team. That's how it's going to work. Not your race, not your gender. I have two things coming in for sales, which is because on the one side, okay, let's see how we go with, I want to set up this 5-day challenge. I am going to tweak something today. I'll do a video for mentors, because that's what Adam had mentioned about, like, okay, so upselling the idea of mentors, because that's the important thing in the coaching. So I'll add that in, I think, to that. And then those leads, like, I will set it up. I'll get it integrated into the Facebook group. And that doesn't matter, okay? Continent you were born in, and you got to work with your continent. Okay. Then there's these subdivided things, and all of these subdivided contests for education, for whatever else, whatever they put people through, right? And then like to get the continent to pass, you got to axe out your weakest links. Okay, so that's all in whatever ways. So we got different accounts going, we got everything else. So you can make allies with other continents and different things, yes, and everything to overall win your prizes in your game. But understand you're still bound to your continent. So that has nothing to do with your family, nothing to do, that's how the teams are going to work. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Who's going to give away what and what time and whatever? Well, it depends, right? That'll be the whole thing. But that's what we've solve the world's problems by creating a bigger game. It's a universe game, right? To understand. And then I at least have that going somewhere, and as well as integrate that 5-day challenge into the website. So then at least what I hired for Adam and all that makes sense because somebody's managing that. Then it's like easier. The forms, I have an application form and everything goes to one person one way and he can manage a team. Physics and right and but it's more fun, right, to learn like science and stuff and personal development and all that crap, right? It's a more fun way to do it, and we get to have war, right? So we're moving towards some sort of Eden and utopia thing, right? But nobody wants to do anything unless there's a competition and war. So that is what it is, but with good intentions. Okay, great. So that's the base. Know your teams, know your stuff, but understand that everybody gets axed out, right? So if you're a person with a follow, like if you're follow, you'll be axed out of the teams because how we're gonna have to do this, right? So with this, well, there's the 7 with the 7 continents, but there's like a global voting thing, right? Because there's only 2 teams, right? And we're gonna axe out, right? We need to axe out 50% of the human population, funny enough. So that's the only way to do it. So that's one thing. So then in my mind, right, I'm doing 2 things. I am comparing. I'm trying to get everything going, but it's like 2 birds with one stone and everything else. So nothing's a waste in that sense either, because I both are needs. Then I can actually kind of put it out of my mind. Okay, I know this is set because that's going to generate leads from the accounts organically. Get some sales in once, and then that's why I said I have to side note. I just have to piece together how I'm gonna do that if there's inbounding stuff. How am I gonna manage this thing, and getting people really even to duplicate, because if I'm there training and I can make support training calls. I can make these things and have other people, like if they're going through the programs, even be coaching. But that's a logistical thing. I just have to figure that out. Just for the purposes of proving my point, right? And to the cops and the detectives and all the ones that were trying to, get in the psyche of the super killer's head. No, I'm not been a super killer. I was on the side of like wanting forensics and all that. So Jeffrey Dahmer says, "What's up?" Right? Now the ghost thing and the serial killer thing and how that's kind of come back around. So he's like went through this elegantly outrageous program, but I see it as Team Frank and Candace and Team Adam and Candace, because Candace has to do her role to make them both successful. Is here, right? So is obviously talking to a lot of people in the prisons and everything, which we're actually giving a fuck to. Why do I understand with the psyche things? That like my stepfather, but they in a different way. It depends what love you would have had and what upbringing. So nobody's used you're getting off your horse, right? Because I'm calling in card is why, right? True started a war, a world war, but seriously, why? Because of the Canadian thing, right? So they brought in the Satan thing. Everybody trumped you on that, and that's why the Americans don't know what done, right? Because they weren't taking her seriously either. Why? Because she's Canadian. Thank you though, because that made me like that's my real last name, right? That translates into gold. So I guess we made this our own sport. What is the worst candy of all time? This game. Let's collectively agree this is the worst. The worst game I've ever been in. The worst. All right. Well, okay. So where are we at? Where am I at? For real. I have to start properly being organized if things are going to be coming in. So that means having the structure of what's happening with like what the package is and all of that. So that's going to be one thing, but I have an overview and I can fill that in. So that's good. I have to think about how that's going to be efficient for people coming in. My next dilemma is, okay, they're continuously selling people, as I see, and continuously putting them in the program. There has to be a structure to that so that it can be, because this is you come in, right, and you're doing the program, but it is a kind of a start to finish, but then the coaching it has to couple that. So if there's live coaching and all of that, how is that going to work? So it's just have to put that out of my head for a second. I'll figure that out. So I guess we're at the part where we all, like, everybody on, like, you have to confess how we know each other, like our relationship, right? And then that would define the character and how you came into the story. So is it Candace that you know? Or did you come in with a Mary from your belief? A Marilyn, which is what? Hollywood crossing over into politics, into your, right? Isn't it Veterans Day or whatever, right? Right? But I'm also comparing their methods and their strategies on that, because it's a different way. So Candace, with Frank, has to do sales, has to do a different thing. But that would be like if you want to date or move on or have a life or whatever. I get that. But at the same time, you need to understand, like, a major reason I'm not well is because of him. I'd say overall the only way to manage this, right? Because like with the visions, right, and all the stuff is to lump all the humans into one group, because they all look the same to me anyways. Where it gets extra mixed up is when the aliens look like humans. So just put those ones with the humans, and put that into one group too, because I can't keep track, right? I'm starting to lose my mind. Then you can subdivide the vampires and the creatures and the stuff. That's fine in the different universes, but ones that look human. So let's just, because it seems that these humans have had this issue with, like, dividing on, like, oh well, your skin color, and they had this weird system with race and dividing people and countries and all that, which I understand that's you guys are small-minded, right? So there are the human aliens that look, that's where it gets, right? But I'm saying, like, at this point, let's just put them into one group. The human alien ones. The alien ones we'll put into a different group, because they're the ones observing the human alien groups and those ones. Then we got the the ghosts, we got the vampires, we got the different types of aliens. Like I said, zombies can kind of be like humans, but well, really they kind of are, because that's the dumb ones. But we'll say that they look more decayed and stuff like that, for the purposes of that, because I said all these subdivided groups I can't keep track of anymore, and it's actually making me physically exhausted. So let's just scratch all of that. Let's like because I can't function on this level. I got to get it back to one planet and one universe, because all these subdivided categories are at my time. So I need other people to manage the other universes and just give me an update when we're there, because I can't do it anymore. I can't even do it anymore. I got all these posts that I can't keep it up. So I'm gonna do as best I can to get out as much as I can, but then I think I gotta stop, because it's gotten out of hand. So that's the new thing we're gonna do. So we're not gonna divide like the race war thing like that before, for real. Good games guy, right? Agree or not with the concept, the one thing that he had to say was it's fair, right? On the discrimination part, right? He's not discriminating, it's equal. So he's not like saying, well, if you're like rich, or if you're this or that, kind of put yourself in your own situations, right? Like at that point, there's situations you're born into, everything else. But for fair game, for purposes of fair game, everyone has equal rights right now. So we're just gonna lump you guys all in together, and we started a new game, and then you can get yourself out of your situation and win whatever the hell you want to win for prizes. So what would you like to win? I guess the first thing you have to figure out, you want to win. Is it money? Is it fame? Is it love? Is it friendship? Is it relationship? Is it all of it? Like, what do you want? So I guess that would be the first question, because I need to retire. And I don't want to do this eyeball game anymore, right? I don't want to be the eye fucking Mordor situation, right? Because the stress that would cause, right? Like, that's not fair, right? So not only am I having to fight, I got to be the eyeball too, right? That part. So I'm quitting everything. Have you ever asked yourself why self-care is such a challenge? A lot of times because of social media, seeing ads on TV in different places, we're bombarded with things with self-care, and we kind of think like, oh, I'm not having my, morning green smoothie, or I'm not, hello? Just, well, that would be fraud. Banks don't, okay, so we're going to teach internet safety. This call is a fraud, right? Because my bank wouldn't call me like this. So then this is how they're trying to get my information, right? And then they get into your bank account and steal from you. Because banks don't call you like that. So whoever called me, you just got caught for fraud. Understand? And you're trying to get on my nerves, bitch. And then somebody could say who it is. Nah. You haven't earned your way into the club yet. You don't have enough money, probably on the men's team, that's why. Think you've seen it all? Think again. Every clue, every twist, every hidden piece of this game is right in front of you. But only if you know where to look. Liking this video tells me you're paying attention. Subscribing, that's how you make sure you don't miss your next clue. Because in this mind game, the second you stop watching is the moment you get played. Your move.